Sleep is how we end our days and how we start our days. Today, we're gonna start talking about sleep health, and we have Dr. Nami with us. So, you're most welcome to the Pain podcast. Can you introduce us to yourself, please?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. My name is Mohammad Nami. I'm a medical doctor and I got PhD in cognitive neuroscience, and I've been practicing in the field of sleep and sleep health and sleep disorders for the past 15 plus years. And sleep health and also the science behind it has been very close to my heart for the past several years. And I always feel fascinated how we can, pass on the torch and let other people know also how important the sleep health is to our physical health and to our mental health. And that's why when you said that we're going to have a discussion regarding the sleep, I said, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy for this opportunity to be sharing some insights with those who are listening to this or watching this.
Yeah. So we can survive months or years with bad eating habits, and we can survive a month maybe without eating, but we can survive 1 or 2 days without sleeping, and 1 day of bad quality of sleep can affect a lot our next day. So sleeping, I guess, is one of the most important things that we should be taking care about. And what is the first thing you would suggest for people to have a good sleep, a healthy sleep?
Yeah. That's a very salient point because I came across one very interesting reading back in 2006, and that really was striking to my attention. That was a paper, an article, and it was saying that sleep is of the brain, for the brain, and by the brain. And what does that imply? This means that our brain is very sensitive to lack of sleep. So we have sleep need, and we need to meet this requirement. So if I do not sleep enough or I don't have efficient sleep, then I become, I'll have some debt to my sleep bank, let's say. This sleep debt cannot be cumulatively more than 72 hours over 2 weeks. So if someone has sleeplessness or sleep deprivation for the sum of 72 plus hours over 2 weeks, this is really detrimental to our brain health and to our bodily health. And if a person is sleep deprived for this amount of hours, as if the person, the cognitive performance, the attention, learning, and emotion.
Every 2 weeks,
within 2 weeks, we are maximum allowed to be behind the schedule for sleep for the sum of 72 hours sleepless.
Which is 8 hours a day, 7 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah. So if you are for 2 weeks, for 14 days, for 14 days, if you have sleep debt of 72 hours, this means that you are absolutely supposed to be suffering from sleep deprivation. All right. This doesn't mean, tonight I was supposed to have 8 hours of sleep or 6-7 hours of sleep, but I was not able to do that. I got 5 hours. So I'm minus 3 hours to my bank, all right, to my sleep bank. So tomorrow night, I am again minus 2 hours. It is minus 5 hours collectively. And the next night and the next night. So if you sum up all those sleep debts, and by the end of 2 weeks, it is reaching over 70 hours of sleep debt. This is like the concentration. My performance, my brain performance at that level would be like a person whose blood alcohol concentration is equal to 0.01.
Which is how much?
Which means that the person is pretty wasted, right? So if a person who is wasted, if the person is totally drunk, will you be able to communicate, in the logical way with that person? Will the person be able to move around or to do things? This is because the brain hasn't had the capacity to get cleared off from the waste materials, because the toxins have been accumulating in the brain over nights and nights and nights. So this is very critical, because our body and our brain both get rested, restored, and repaired during a sleep. That's why sleep is like a very, very key pillar of our health. And many people do not really pay enough attention to this. How about that?
So, Dr. Nami, what's the worst habits people can do for having a bad quality of sleep? Like,
It's not like just one untoward habit that a people can have. There are some bad habits that I and you and everyone should not follow. So they are absolutely don't follow things, right? And if someone sticks to those recommendations and rules that they are for the good of our sleep health, they're actually following the sleep hygiene. This means that we have some recommendations. They're very common sense, right? But the common sense is not common all the time. So people don't follow that, and that's the point. So they are easy in words, but when it comes to action, it's not that easy. This means I need to follow some do's and don'ts, including like what? For example, from a distinct timing in the evening when the sun sets down, I need to have the technology also aside. And also, I need to put everything like screen, light, TV, monitors, computers, laptops, mobile, and everything. So whatever is involved with technology should also set down, right? At nighttime, number one. Number two is that we got to be staying regular. So those who are not regular in terms of wake and sleep habits and sleep timing, by time they're going to have this regulation in the hormones and the proteins in the brain. So the brain will lose the track about sleep. So staying regular in terms of timing. The third thing is that people need to have some proper environment. So if my sleeping room is not appropriate for having a good quality sleep or also the experience, this sweet slumber. So this means that my sleep environment is not set for sleep for me. I eat in my bedroom. I watch TV. I have many untidy and messy stuff there. So when I get into the room, I say, there is another night. It's supposed that I'm not going to fall asleep
so
again.
bedroom is only for sleeping, not to be used for other purposes.
So the bedroom is only for sleep and intimate relations. And apart from that, all other things needs to be outside the bedroom.
How does sex helps in our sleeping quality?
Yeah. There are plenty of scientific evidence supporting that having intimate relations doesn't have anything to do with the quality of sleep. So it is also, on the contrary, been shown that having intimate relations would also help integration of the cycles of sleep, because we have some macro structure. So the engineering, the structure of a sleep. So this means that we start with shallow sleep, then we move to somehow deep sleep, then we move to the deep sleep, and then we have the capacity of experiencing something which is called REM sleep, REM sleep. And REM stands for rapid eye movement, as if my eyes is rapidly moving, it's like a to and fro eye movement. And this is where people start to dream about something, and the brain processes emotions, right? So there's cycles. There are 4 stages. So those 4 stages, when they come one after each other, they're forming a cycle. And we have like 4 or 5 cycles every night. It's like a journey, right? I go down, then up, then go down, then up. It's like a journey. If referring back to the concept of sex, it does not only does not affect the macro structure or the sleep cycle integrity, but it's been shown that is effective. Why is that the case? Because that also helps secretion of a specific hormones in the body, including oxytocin and also other things, or adenosine. And adenosine and oxytocin are shown to be some, chemical mediators that they are pro-sleep integrity. So this is good. But the other thing is that people might ask this question. Well, we've heard somewhere that we should not have late night meals, or we should not do exercises after 9 p.m. Why is that the case? For the exercise, there is a no-go, but for sex, there is no issue.
Yeah,
That is because of the the physiological properties of the brain and the body to secrete some sort of hormones or neuropeptides and chemicals in the brain and body that they are compatible with those sleep structure. So there has been many scientific evidence supporting the fact that intimate relationship does not have anything to do with sleep quality and quantity. And on the contrary, that's also helpful for that. But what are the other
So
don'ts?
you mean it does help?
It helps,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It has positive effect on the integrity of sleep.
Yeah.
But what are the other don'ts? What should I not be doing at nighttime, at the late in the evening? Apart from those things that we already touched on, like having heavy meals late at night, or smoking, or drinking alcohol. So maybe some people say, you know why? When I drink alcohol, I fall asleep very easily. It's like
Yeah, even smoking, people feel like they have more muscle relaxation because
Yeah.
of nicotine.
yeah.
But doesn't it help in sleeping?
For sure, nicotine has got stimulating effect. So it does not let the brain to experience that hypnic tone, or making the brain to experience that transition from wake to this slide from wake to sleep stage. The nicotine is absolutely the case of not letting us have shut eye. But when it comes to alcohol, it's a bit tricky. People say that we have just a little bit of alcohol and done. We fall asleep very easily. And they are right. They fall asleep easily, but they have sleep fragmentation. The macro structure, the integrity of those cycles that we refer to is absolutely disrupted. So those people will have disintegrated sleep. They would have inefficient sleep. They might be having also some issues with their breathing. They start to have snores, and those snoring start to be an issue for them, because that's not just a vexing sound. The snore is a symptom for those people, which gives us some impression that there is some narrowing at the back of the throat. So at the back of the throat, there is flow limitation because of narrowing, because of inflammation, the congestion. So when sleep is so loud, when snoring is so loud, and it could be heard from the next door, it is possibly indicating that something is blocking the airway.
For everybody who snores, not only what we were referring to as people who drink alcohol, right?
Alcohol drinking increases the possibility of snoring. But for those who have snoring, we definitely will touch on it. So yeah. So those who drink alcohol, they have a good start in the sleep, but later on they will start to have many episodes of wakes after sleep onset. Number one. Number two, they start to have snoring. Number three, the micro and macro structure of a sleep is not there. So when they wake up in the morning, they don't feel refreshed. They don't feel that they are ready to start off the day, right?
Yeah,
that
they
is
feel
mainly
hangover.
exactly. That's mainly because for one thing, the alcohol concentration in the blood is still there, and they cannot start off the day easily well. And number two, they will be some kind of gloomy in the morning. And number two is that, well, they didn't get a good sleep. So to have a good shut eye, this is one of the no-goes. This is one of the things that we should definitely avoid. Smoking, alcohol, late night meals. Also, staying away from, very arousing or exciting things. If I watch a very, very, exciting movie or something, number one, I should avoid screen time at night. That's one thing. The other thing is that if I want to watch a movie, it should not be like a very exciting movie. Or if I get into fight, or if I get into very serious discussion with a friend or a spouse or whoever, and these are going to be contradictory to the sleep integrity.
We are speaking about discussions, and people maybe problem solving at night is something that can affect their sleep. People going to sleep and having a hard time to stop their brain from thinking.
Wow.
It's a kind of anxiety maybe
Wow.
that gets more the brain to be excited when they get into bed. So what do you think about that? How can they stop their brain from talking to them?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. So here's the point that the hyperexcitability of the nervous system and the brain is kind of masked during the day because we have external cues. We have many things to deal with, all right? So we have visual cues, we hear sounds, we have this and that. So we kind of mask all those excitability. And part of the excitability is the excitability of thoughts. So when you have this reverberating or kind of, ruminating, racing thoughts or racing mind, when all the external or the surrounding stimuli are shut down, I do not receive anything from the surrounding. No visual, no acoustic, everything is calm. Then I have this, I got to travel inside.
People tell me the internal person started talking to
exactly.
me.
So my second one started to talk to me, right? So, and then some people, they have this what if thoughts or if only thoughts. So they refer to something that they should have done before, or they're concerned about
the future or about the past, right?
Exactly. So what if thoughts are about the past, but if only thoughts are about the past, but what if thoughts are about the future? So that's anxiety or regrets and depression. So this is like a back and forth discussion with oneself when we have repeatedly, ruminatively, having this discussion with self back and forth. And that is like the way that the person will find it very difficult to let the brain have some tranquility, have some calming state. Exactly.
Yeah.
So by that, these people will find it difficult. Sometimes they become obsessed about insomnia. They become obsessed about not being able to sleep. So they are becoming clock watchers. I would say, well, it's 1 a.m. Okay, I'm still awake.
15 minutes.
Well,
I'm trying to sleep.
It's 1:15.
I think they always come having a certain time. Like they tell you, it takes me 2 hours. It takes me 1 hour. They are always looking like they are always aware of how much time does it take them to fall asleep.
Exactly.
And what solutions can they do? What techniques? What medications maybe or supplements they would be able to take to help them?
Well, before getting into medication, Dr. Sami, we need to think of something natural. We need to help ourselves.
Yeah.
All right. So we are the one who is able to bring in the best remedy for ourselves. So first and foremost is that I got to know about my issues and the things that it brought in the issues. What are the root cause of those problems and the solutions? One of the solutions is that if I have ruminative, scattered brain and thoughts and like that, I need to jot it down. All right. So I have a list of my worrying thoughts or stresses. So when I write it down and again, I analyze and write down about the possible solutions and the best solution or something, I'm just going to get my, wandering thoughts on the paper. Organize it and have it on a paper. So I have it there. Then I'm comfortable with that. Okay, I say you stay there, and I'm going to fall asleep. And then the next day, I review. The first thing that I review is that okay, now what I'm supposed to be doing with these things. But when I go to bed, I put all the thoughts kind of well organized on a paper or on something, and then I have it. I mean, like the diary of the things that I got to be touching on tomorrow and everything. And I know that they are in a safe box. So then I deal with my the capacity or ability to fall asleep and stay asleep. And the other thing is that people need to be able to have this mindful capacity or mindful skills. So some people, they do the, like meditation practices or mindfulness-based trainings. They listen to specific musics and they use some particular like applications on their phone, but not something visual, but something acoustic. And also they would follow some specific sort of like measures, like just lighting a candle or putting some aroma, making the room dark and cool, right? So these are the things which help me. And also follow a specific routine.
Talking about something they can listen to, are these videos that we see on YouTube, like the beta, the theta, like these sounds really affect people sleeping or calming their brain down, or it's just a myth?
No, it's not a myth. There are evidence for it. But they got to be standardized, and they had to be researched on. If someone claims that this specific audio file is going to help you fall asleep and stay asleep in a better way, it might be true at some level. when it comes from a credible source and a scientific team has been working on that and they have been published, yeah. Well, there is one thing, what we call it BAB. So there's got binaural acoustic beat. So there's like a combination of the acoustic waveforms in right ear and left ear. It's different, right? So in right ear you hear a different sound as compared to the left ear, and the subtraction of these two wave patterns will generate a specific oscillation in somewhere in the depth of the brain, and that has been shown according to the brain mapping and stuff of that sort that it will be leaving a positive effect on the brain capacity to fall and stay sleepy. That's right. So theta activity, for example, is one thing, is one of them. But in the brain, the theta activity can be generated by listening to specific BABs. But that BAB
But
need
that
to be...
that's not possible, like for people to get through YouTube or through
Some applications that they are coming from credible sources like universities or societies, right? So scientific societies. So if I look into where this audio
Would you advise in
comes
something that people can benefit from?
they can just go and search for some sort of well-documented and
Something specific on
studied audio file. One of them is called the pink noise, and the other one that they can search is, this is not for sleep time, but during the evening time. When we hear to this audio file at the evening time, it's going to help us to have a better experience at bedtime. The first one is called the pink noise. So they can just search for the pink noise and just listen, but they should be listened with the earphone or with the earbuds or something. Okay, so with the
Because
headphone,
it has a different
because it has a
frequency.
different frequency in the right and left side. And number two is for the early evening hours, and it's called mind awake, body asleep, right? Mind awake, body asleep, and that's been marketed in that way. So these two things have been studied, and there are other sort of the BAB audio files that have been scientifically and academically studied. But we should know that if anyone comes and say, okay, I got the magic bullet and this is going to help you fall asleep and get rid of that insomnia, this is not the case. And you know what, Dr. Sami? Insomnia is not that simple. So it's not just above the handle of my eyeglasses. It's not just the brain. It's the interface between my brain and my body, right?
Yeah.
So the brain-body connectum needs to be harmonious. So when the brain-body connection is harmonious, then my brain will at that time will retain the ability to stay away from the worrying thoughts.
And what do you think about people getting support by taking a certain dose of magnesium, ashwagandha, and melatonin? Like these are the most popular in over-the-counter. I won't say medications, but supplements that can help with sleep.
So those herbal remedies, they can help in many instances, but we need to be cautious about melatonin. Because melatonin is a neurohormone that is naturally existing in our brain, and it's secreted from a gland within the very deep-seated gland in our brain. Okay, and I have it, you have it. But melatonin has a biological rhythm, like a biological clock way of secretion. So we have a surge in melatonin as a specific time frame, and then we have a decline in melatonin. So if I'm not in the state of melatonin deficiency, right? If I take melatonin, I may just hamper this regularity, right? So I may wake up in the morning unrefreshed. So that is because I have taken much more than needed melatonin. And the melatonin is not just about a dose of it. It's also about the timing of melatonin. So if we want to go evidence-based and scientific regarding the use of melatonin, we should first check the melatonin onset in the saliva, and then based on that, decide about the best timing for the melatonin. And not only the timing, if it's going to be 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, whatever, not only about the timing, but also about the dose. Is that 3 milligrams, 6 milligrams, 9 milligrams, or 12 milligrams, or 2 milligrams? So it depends on the condition.
If there's a problem in the body, then
We need
melatonin
melatonin. It's
can
helping.
be
But melatonin, but per se, is not a sleep aid medication. So
Yeah.
if I take melatonin, it's not going to help me have a better sleep. But it helps my biological rhythm, my sleep-wake cycle to get in rhythm, to get in check. Right?
we're gonna speak about the rhythm, speaking about jet lags,
Oh,
and
yeah.
but let's just pass by talking about magnesium
Yeah.
and ashwagandha, like
Yeah.
and dreams coming from these
Sure.
medications.
The
Vivid
first
dreams. This is what I got today
So
on
the- yeah,
Instagram.
yeah,
Someone
yeah,
told me like,
yeah.
just I have.
Yeah. So the
We
first
can-
thing that we kind of agreed, hopefully, is that melatonin is not easy stuff. And it's not like going to the pharmacy or at the free shop at the airport and I grab some melatonin that's going to put me on ease and stay away from jet lag. It's not like that. So we need to consult a physician. We need to consult a sleep expert to
even
make
if
sure.
it's over the counter.
Even if it's over the
better-
counter,
It's better that we.
it's better that we get it consulted. So the other supplements like magnesium or ashwagandha or other like chamomile, or these are the things that most of them have also been studied. But again, when we drink the herbal infusions or herbal tea, we don't know exactly what is the efficient and the effective dose of that I'm drinking that through 1 cup of infusion. I don't know about that. So it might be good, it might be somehow good, it might be not good, or it might be even dangerous for someone. All right. So we don't know about this. But when it comes to the titration of the dose and commercialized medicine, like medicine/supplements that they can buy that from the pharmacy, again, if we need it, it would help. So we should listen to our body. If I do not experience a good sleep, I consult someone who is giving me advice on it. If I check my magnesium level or my iron level, or let's say whatever chemistry or like blood elements, and it shows that I'm facing some derangements, dysregulation, so this would definitely help. All I'm saying is,
consult someone that can guide you.
but let's say why I'm saying this. You know how many types of insomnia we have? Insomnia is lack of sleep, right?
Yeah.
How many types of insomnia do we have?
How many?
I mean, generally speaking, we have 84 different types of sleep disorders.
Wow.
That's number one. Number two is that we have 14 different types of insomnia. So some people they got problem with initiating sleep. Some people have issues with maintaining sleep.
Yeah, this is what even some patients of mine were asking also over before the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, what about people who cannot maintain a good sleep, night-long sleep? you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Like
Some
this is
people,
also
some
considered-
people fall asleep. They can maintain sleep, but they wake up unwanted wakes at 4 a.m. and they cannot fall back asleep. Some people, they have very shallow sleep, so it looks like they're asleep, but with the very very minimal stimulation, they wake up with a tiny little sound, with the tiny little light or everything. So the brain is very arousable, right? So and also the insomnia because of that. So we have 14 types of insomnia. It's not like, all right, this is insomnia, so I'm going to prescribe you a sleeping pill. Sometimes, unfortunately, my colleagues, physicians, when we meet with them and we say, doc, what the problem for my sleep is that I find it hard to fall asleep. They just straight ahead go for some sleep aid medication. And the worst scenario is that most of those sleep aid medications have a great potential for dependence and tolerance, and let's face it, addiction. All right. So I may buy time for the first few days or a couple of weeks max, it would help. But by time, I not only I do not sleep with the same dose, and I need to increase dose. Not only that, but also I need to take this over and over again just to stay normal. Right?
Yeah.
And that is the definition of addiction, right?
Addiction, yeah.
Yeah. And one of the challenges and hurdles that we as sleep specialists face is that people have been taking medications from the family of benzodiazepines, including what? Clonazepam, diazepam, temazepam, oxazepam, so whatever PAM. So those medications that start with this, or alprazolam is the same sort of thing, or newer medications like zolpidem or zaleplone or zapiclone. So these are the medications that they help the person fall asleep or stay asleep for a couple of nights or 3 or maximum 1-2 weeks. but the person keeps on taking this for months and even years.
And then their neurological changes happen in the brain, right? And they become
Absolutely.
dependent on these medications to sleep, to have a normal life.
Absolutely. So my number one mission was how to get this medication back from the person and then start prescribing something adaptive. Number two, how to use non-drug solutions for insomnia. So insomnia is just one typical example of the issues that people are coming to our doors with sleep-related problems. But we have many other related sleep-related predicaments. Dreaming, over dreaming, nightmare, or let's say people who have issues with sleepwalking or sleep talking. They have problem with using the bathroom over and over again overnight. They might be having some issues with their
What is it
laughing in a
with
sleep.
I didn't have this on my list of questions in the podcast, but what is it about people walking at night and talking? Like, does
Yeah.
it show? Is it normal for humans to have this, or is it something?
Yeah.
Does it show a pathology or something wrong in the sleep quality?
So some people, when they have sleep talking, if they are acting out their dreams, then there is something not normal, or there is some issue with under a category of the behavioral sleep problems, right? So typically, when someone has a sleep talking or sleepwalking, this means that they are not able to follow through normal sleep stages and sleep cycles. And in some instances, they are having some repetitive, miserable over dreaming experience. Sometimes it turns out to be like nightmare, and people will have some, overtly excited emotional part of the brain during sleep. So that's how they experience things. This is called REM, behavioral disorder. For people at middle age or seniors, when this happens, it is a red flag because that is one of the prodromal signs of some other neurological disorders. So we look at the sleep and we have some impression about what possibly could be the case of this specific sleep.
So it's more
sleep
normal in
relo-
children
And
to have
yeah.
dreams and talk during
The
their.
sleep talking, if it hampers the quality of a sleep, if it causes sleep fragmentation, if it causes confusional wakes or confusional arousal, if the kid has like sleep terror or waking up very apprehended, horrified, yeah, these are the abnormal things because the person
It's
himself.
extreme, right?
It's extreme, but it's just minor little various experiences of sleep talking. Somehow this can be negligible, but when it comes to the middle age and elderly, when this is the case, we need to think about the basic mechanisms that causes this. So sometimes when we do the sleep test and it turns out that the person has got this REM behavioral disorder, then we need to evaluate some other things, do the imaging and also brain mapping and stuff to make sure that we're sitting well with the risk profile for this and that disease, right? So all I'm saying is that sleep is like huge with regards to its bits and pieces of mysteries and unanswered questions and
I
many
know I've been sitting here and listening, like even not asking questions because everything you've been saying is really informative and
I don't know about that, but I
and
know
detailed,
that's
and I think
that's really important.
we
I'm
need-
sure about this.
yeah, we need, I think, more than one episode even for sleep disorders.
Well, it's a
right?
long
It's
story.
a long story.
It's a long story. You're right.
Yeah, and sleeping is one of the basic things. I think how humans have, even we need to sleep. Some people feel they need to sleep during the day and to keep up with the daily activities and things like that. What do you think about day naps? Like, are they healthy? Is there a certain time that people should not take naps after or before, and how much time is a day nap good for? Like,
So that was a very very salient point you touched on. But before moving on with the importance and also the effects of the diurnal or daytime napping, let's make sure that a person is not excessively sleepy So excessive sleepiness or drowsiness during the day, it's absolutely not normal. And that puts the person at an increased risk for work-related accidents or car accident or when the person is holding like critical job responsibilities, that becomes even more salient, like pilots, like you know what I mean, and those who
Doctors.
are doctors, exactly. And so it's important. And road traffic accidents, it's not a joke. And it turns out that 23 to almost 30% of the road traffic accidents in different community-based studies, there's been resulted from sleepiness of the dozing off the wheel, right? So the person has been
Dozing off the wheel means
Yeah,
sleeping
exactly.
while driving.
Yeah, while driving, absolutely. So why is that? So let's park this somewhere and let's get
Yeah.
back to nap. So if I'm not overtly sleepy during the day, if I'm fine, and if I have the chance to take less than 30 minutes power nap in the afternoon time, brilliant.
Afternoon,
Afternoon,
not past 10.
almost
Not
one.
past 5, I mean.
Yeah, almost 1:30 to 3:30. Why this is important? Because regardless of where we live on the planet, 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. as a social time is matched to our biological time. And this is where our body wants and tends to experience calmness, right? There are two dips in our consciousness level. One is 4 to 6 a.m., and the other one is 1:30 or 1 to 3 a.m. or 1:30 to 3:30 a.m. So in these, if you take a look at the news and also the records for the road traffic accidents, most of the accidents happen either between 4 to 6 a.m. or in the early afternoon hours. So this means that in these two time zones, windows, our brain and our body tend to have some snoozing, some slumber, a little bit of. And it has been a culture that when a person, the human being and human body has experienced this over time for years and years, and people in different cultures, they value this afternoon short nap. So, for example, in Spain, they call it siesta. Right? Or in Middle East, they value this. So they go and take a nap, which is perfect. And there have been studies, both in kids and youngsters, and also in adults, showing that having less than an hour, ultimately, roughly 45 minutes, preferably less than 45 minutes, is optimal. Okay, so taking a nap in the afternoon, specifically somewhere between 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, is going to help the person to gain a better cognitive, emotional, regularity and stamina organization. So it helps my brain and my body to keep on with better functionality. But if I take like an hour, 2 hours of nap, this is going
that will mess up our evening.
Absolutely,
sleep, right?
That's going to negatively affect my evening or late evening, brain ability to fall asleep. So my nocturnal or my night sleep will get negatively affected. So nap is good, specifically for those who would like to keep on working in the afternoon, evening time, if they have time. If I'm a leader, if I'm a businessman working at my office. So I got to probably better off having some schedule of like 30 minutes, put my technologies aside, closed door policy, and then shut my eyes and just try to have like less than 30 minutes of sleep. So it takes a normal person like 15 to 30 minutes to fall asleep. That's fine. But if I want to take a nap in the afternoon, and before taking a nap, I take a coffee.
Or a meal. What do you think?
Meal and coffee, yeah. Because when you take coffee or 75 milligram of caffeine or a light meal or something, and then you have like 30 minutes of nap, and then when you wake up, the body has processed that food and that coffee and is ready to get into the brain and the body, right? So into the blood. So when you wake up, you wake up completely fueled and refreshed.
So the best way to take a nap is a day rest is to take it between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. And to have a meal and coffee before
that.
Right before the nap.
Correct.
So when you wake up, it would be
running your bloodstream.
Running in your blood.
Exactly.
So
and that should be less than 45 minutes.
Less than 45
Optimally
minutes.
Half an hour. So if I get a chance of taking half an hour of of power nap every day, I would definitely say yes.
And what do you think about jet lag? Like, because especially here in Dubai, I see people like traveling the whole time for the weekend or like for work, and they always suffer from sleeping problems. Especially if the flights are in the early morning or midnight. So, uh, what uh, what can you suggest for that?
Yeah,
To how to avoid it
yeah, how to
and
avoid it.
how to get rid of it?
Yeah, very good. First, why jet lag happens. I have two clocks. I have a watch on my wrist and I have one clock between my ears, right? So this is called the biological clock and this is called the social clock. So when I get on the plane and when I cross the time zones, I just, change the time zone. As easy as that. Very, very easy, very quick. But this guy would not get adapted to
Adapted.
that as easy as I
Yeah.
just changed the timing on my watch. It takes time because the genes and the expression of those genes, the proteins, the hormones, the chemicals that it got to be expressing and secreted into the brain, they need to have this modification. And the modification is not like overnight. So there is like a disconnection between social clock. For example, if I travel today to Beijing, from Dubai, I fly to Beijing. So my social clock says that it's 7 a.m., but my biological clock says that it's 11 p.m. So there's like a disconnection in terms of the dialogue of my body to the external environment. This is called jet lag. So my body is not set for that social timing, right? So this is because of the dysregulation of the social needs, disconnection between the social needs and my biological setting. In my brain, still I have maximal amount of melatonin. I have maximal amount of adenosine. So these are the chemicals that they are pro-sleep. Also, there is another hormone or protein in the brain called orexin. Orexin is good, is needed to keep me awake. My orexin is very low now, but I need to go to the meeting, right?
Yeah.
So what I should be doing? First, it needs time, like 2 days, but I need to avoid that. I need to be on top of the game when I arrive in Beijing because I'm going to go and sign a contract there. So what if I arrive in Beijing and I'm totally destroyed and I'm jet lagged, but I need to do something critical? So the idea of that is that 3 days before traveling across time zones, we need to just advance or delay our sleeping habits just to make it as similar as possible, even 1 hour, even 2 hours, as similar as possible to the destination. For example, I was given advice to a team of Olympians, and they were going to travel to Rio de Janeiro for the Olympics in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. And 3 months before going to Brazil, they were being trained or entrained regarding their biological rhythm to sleep by Brazil social time and to wake up by Brazil social time.
Wow.
Although they were in the Middle East, all right? So when they were there, they were on top of the game with regards to their muscle and their brain ability. How did we do that? We were just checking the melatonin from the saliva and then doing the genetic tests and all the thing and the blood test. And by that, we realized that, well, this is the proper dosing of this supplement. This is the right timing. And in the morning, when they woke up, they were not able to wake up because for them, they had to wake up at 3 a.m., right? Because we're kind of re-engineering their biological clock.
Yeah.
But we were giving them light therapy. But light is a different story as another complex thing. What should be the intensity? What is the distance? What is the light of the light? The color of the light, all right? For how long the light therapy should be there. So this is called entrainment, and we have way for it. So again, taking melatonin under the advice of a sleep specialist, taking light therapy or exposure to light, and kind of re-engineering our time schedule for sleep and wakefulness. If we want to take something really serious there, just the moment we arrive at a destination, we need to get set like 3-4 days before getting on a plane, right?
And if we already have a jet lag?
If we already have a jet lag, let's follow our biological clock. All the time we advise the people, listen to your body. if you can.
Yeah.
All right. So listen to your body, or the jet lag is going to just, I mean, you follow the social time. It's not always pleasant, but after like a couple of days, things are going to be all right. But especially when I'm jet lagged at night, I need to take supplementary melatonin. I mean, by night, I mean the social night.
Yeah.
Okay. So the social timing, because my biological timing does not feel the night, but it's the night there. So I need to take melatonin to put my brain and my body also to the sleeping position, right? So taking melatonin again under the advice of an expert, and also light therapy in the morning, or exposure to sunlight when I wake
up the body and to put it in sleep, but with a guided, with any guided way with a specialist.
You got it.
Great. Dr. Nami, it was a great honor to have you on the podcast, and sleep is like, I'm sure we're going to have another episode talking more about detailed sleeps, maybe when we get more comments about this episode. Like we will have more detailed discussions and a better talk the next time. So
when it comes to the idea of talking about the importance of sleep health, I'm always looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And more importantly, when it comes to the idea of talking to you, I'm even more interested.
We have a lot of things to discuss with you, because you're a neuroscientist, so you've been in a lot of research, and I'm sure people would be really interested in a lot of things you have to say.
You brought the idea up yourself, and I really value the opportunity of talking about these things with you. And we definitely can touch on many things, and I hope that the things that we're talking about here is going to be of value, of interest for the people, and also applicable to our quality of life.
We have things about memory. We have things to talk about. Maybe what other things we
emotion regulation, anxiety, and many other things, and neurotechnology. We got many other things to discuss about.
Yeah.
So it's the mystery, and it's the miraculous brain
Yeah.
that we carried over with us all the time. It's like I see the whole world with my glasses. The thing is, I don't see my glasses.
Yeah.
I experience the whole world with my brain, but I'm not aware of my brain.
Yeah.
Right? That's the idea.
It's the bad guy.
Yeah, it's the guy at the backstage. Very good.
good.
So we need to always be cautious about keep taking care of this gem in our skull, and celebrate it, cherish it, because that works immaculately well. But we need to understand the value of our brain, raise the awareness about the brain. Sleep is part of our brain, health. Sleep health is brain health, and brain health gives rise to sleep health. So they got to be co-promoted. And if there is another opportunity or chance for me to be discussing about this, for sure, I'll be more than pleased to.
Sure.
Especially with you, Dr. Sami.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
See
My
you.
total pleasure. Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye.